we're going to talk about the methods or the tools for appraising performance management. The first thing we're going to do is talk about three key ingredients to performance management. We're going to talk about the very first one, which is planning. Planning is the first step in any good performance management process. Planning is the most important part because poor planning leads to disaster. And also you can see, good planning begins with analyzing the exact goals you want your company to attain. See, one thing that Dr. Watson always taught us, and as a student this is very critical, challenge brings change. Challenge brings change. Dr. Watson told us that the first part of the quarter, and this is embedded to me because this is a life strategy right here. This is a concept that I'm going to take with me forever. Thank you, Dr. Watson, for that. Okay? So let's talk about the second part of performance management. The second part of performance management is monitoring. See, any kind of performance management system, there must be a vigorous monitoring system. See, with monitoring, there must be consistent feedback and also got to be constructive criticism. Okay? There must be a system in place to monitor each company and goal and to ensure everything is going to plan. Without that, you will not have a cohesive, you will have a structured system to keep on going. You have to have a monitoring system in every performance management process. The next tool that you have to have is a reward system. See, reward system, with reward system students, employees and team recognition can really influence the success of your company. See, when you have a great reward system, see, people morale, they are really in tune with it, right? They have constant energy. The environment is just different. You can have organized chaos if you have a reward system. See, praise and recognition is very important in this part of it right here. Praise and recognition is the key ingredient to have morale of the environment and also boost productivity. The key is rewards is praise and recognition. When someone is doing good, right, you want to praise that. You want to recognize that. See, the challenge that we have sometimes in any performance management system, we always talk about when somebody's doing bad or they're not hitting the numbers. See, in a performance praise system, praise and recognition is the key ingredients to any performance management system. Okay? Now, let's talk about the different methods. In the different methods, we're going to talk about the traditional versus the modern methods. Okay? Let's talk about the modern methods first. Let's talk about the traditional methods first. See, I'm going to do an overview of all the different methods, but I'm going to highlight about 3 or 4 that I think is really important. Okay? Now let's talk about traditional first. Okay? With a traditional method, you have what they call a paired comparison. You have graphic rating scales. You have forced choice description method. You have forced description method. You have checklists. You have free essay method. You have critical incidents. You have a group appraisal. Then you have field review method. You have confidential report and ranking. Those are things that make up the traditional methods. Okay? Now on the other side, the modern methods, you have what they call an assessment center. You're going to hear me talk more about that. You're going to have appraisal by results, and you have managed by objectives, or what they call MBOs. You have what they call human asset account. Last but not least, you have behavioral anchored rating scales, or short, for some say BARS for short, BARS, BARS. Now let's go into detail with this. Let's talk about the ranking method. This method right here is the oldest and simplest form of systematic method of performance appraisal. This happens in which employee is compared with all others for the purpose of placing order of worth, from best to worst. Now let's look at the paired comparison. Okay, with the paired comparison, employees are compared with each other. Usually one trait is only compared. So that can be a challenge by using that method. If you only compare one trait. The next thing you want to look at is what they call the graded method. Now, with the graded method, employees are just graded on worth. And sometimes they're not graded on what they think they're worth, but they are graded on what the employee think they're worth. Is that always good? That's not always good. Because you may have a different worth of who you think you are, but your performance might dictate different. So you got to have both incoherent. You got to make sure you worth your performance and always constantly getting better so you get a higher grade. Now let's talk about the graphic rating scale method. Okay? The graphic rating scale method is one of the most popular and simplest techniques for appraising performance and techniques. Okay? Now let's go a little bit detail with this. Now here you see a chart. Okay? With this chart, you have performance factor on one side, and at the top you see the performance rating. So when you talk about performance factor, you're talking about two factors. You're talking about the quality of work. Is it accurate? Is it skill, completeness of work? And you talk about the quantity of work. Is the volume of work done in a normal work day? So you're talking about quality compared to quantity. If you look at quality, you want to make sure it's consistently, right? You want to make sure it's consistently, satisfactory. Okay? Some is consistently unsatisfactory. It can be occasionally unsatisfactory. Sometimes it's superior, and then sometimes consistently superior. So you want to know what factor that you rely on the most. You want to see what performance rating they're going to achieve. And the thing is, you have a group that's grading this. In your employee, you have a group that's grading this. Then look at the quantity of the work. With the quantity of the work, you want to know if it's consistently unsatisfactory. You want to make sure if it's consistently satisfactory. You want to aim to be superior. And you want to always aim to be consistently superior. Does that make sense? Okay? Any question, class? All right. And I think this is broken down pretty good. Now, we're going to get into the modern methods. Okay? With the modern method, I'm going to break down two of those. Okay? The modern methods, we're going to talk about the assessment centers. Okay? And we're going to talk about bars. Okay? Behavior anchored rating scales. Okay? Let's talk about assessment centers first. In the business field, right, the assessment centers are mainly used for evaluating executive and supervisory potential. Okay? This is where managers come together and they participate in workshops. They participate in different exercises where they want to make sure they have the right assessment for each employee. Okay? Now, let's talk about the one that's mostly used today. It's called BARS, behaviorally anchored rating scales. This involves 5 steps, and I'm going to break down each step. Okay? The first step is being able to generate critical incidents. Okay? Critical incidents is nothing but behaviors. What's the behavior pattern? Right? We're talking about different behaviors. Okay? What behaviors are essential for the job? Those are what they call critical incidents. Okay? Then you want to have what they call development performance dimension. Okay? In the development performance dimension, each critical incident or behavior, right, are structured to a small set of dimensions. And each one of those are defined. Okay? Usually, it's about 5 to 10 of these dimensions. Okay? And each dimension is really based on having a qualification and a structure to do that. Okay? Number 3, reallocating incidents, reallocating the behaviors. In reallocating the behaviors or the incidents, okay, they are really reallocated by another group. These are a group of people who know the job that's in question. These are what they call the experts, or the ones who have done the job before. So if they've done a job before, they have some expertise in knowing the job, and they want to know if you do the job the same way they've done it, or even better. Okay? Let's look at number 4. It's called scaling incidents. Okay? Same group, in step 3, the same group, they will rate the behavior that's described in each incident. See, this same group that did number 3, reallocated incidents, this same group right here, okay, they're going to scale it now. Now, their goal is to see if the level of effectiveness or ineffectiveness is matched with that behavior pattern. Okay? With that behavior pattern. Okay, number 5, developing the final bars instrument. In developing the final bars instrument, you list 6 or 7 of these incidents, and they use to see what the final performance will be. Now they're going to rate everything that's in question. They want to see what the final performance will be. Okay? Now, in closing, I will let you know that no matter what method you use, okay, no matter what method that you use, you want to make sure everything's done based on principles. And let me define principles. Principles is an unconditional truth that when you practice it, it gives you a desired result. That's what a principle. See, a principle can work for the good, the bad, the weak, the strong. It's a principle, right? So when you base your business on principles and not just performance, and you have to have a performance level to hit, that it only makes sense, but you got to have some principle behind it. If you apply a principle to anything, right? Whether you a high performer or not, you're gonna have something in you that wants you to get better. That's the principle. The principle getting better that's part of the performance appraisal system. And I hope that makes sense. See, I want to make sure that we have a good understanding of performance appraisal and using the methods, whether it's traditional or modern. And I want to thank you for your time. And my time is up. And I want you to have a homework assignment and analyze each one, which is traditional and what is modern. Thank you for your time.